From the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, it's the second semifinal in the East region. The Seton Hall Pirates out of the Big East against the Duke Blue Devils from the Atlantic Coast Conference. Winner of this game meets Kentucky Saturday night at 7 o'clock as Kentucky advanced with a 10-point victory over UMass in Game 1 tonight. Hi once again, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome back to the Spectrum. 1 year ago this month, Duke won the NCAA title by defeating Kansas. When this season started, they were ranked #1. They held that spot every week throughout the season. They are the #1 seed coming into the NCAA tournament, and they are trying now to accomplish what no team has done since UCLA in 1973, and that is repeat as NCAA basketball champions. I'm with Len Elmore, and Lenny, when you're trying to accomplish that, it helps to have a 3-time All-American named Christian Laettner.
And it certainly helps if that All-American exemplifies what your team has accomplished throughout the years. Christian Laettner's as good as they come, and it's his focus and his determination, his competitiveness, not letting his team lose, that makes him so tough. And of course, he's got a little bit of skill out there. He's so tough outside with the three-pointer as well as inside. It's going to be a tough matchup for Seton Hall.
The Duke Blue Devils come in with 30 wins and 2 defeats. Seton Hall is 23-8. Started out the season with great hopes, had some stumbling problems, but they finished as Big East champions. And though they are a young team, they do have a matchup that you think might be key in the ballgame.
Well, I certainly think that their sophomore point guard, Brian Caver, is key, particularly against Bobby Hurley at the point. Bobby Hurley's done a great job of keeping people from penetrating into the heart of the Duke defense. Caver has the quickness to get around him, and if he does, he's got to utilize great judgment in either shooting the ball or getting it to people that are wide open.
Now let's check the lineups. First of all, on the left for Seton Hall, Gordon Winchester, Jerry Walker, number 21, Arturas Karnisovas, Brian Caver, and Terry Dehere. And for the Duke Blue Devils, Antonio Lang, Brian Davis, Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, and Thomas Hill. And of course, Grant Hill will come off the bench. He is another of those averaging in double figures. Ed Hightower, Ted Hillary, and Ron Zether are the 3 officials from Alton, Illinois, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Chesterfield, Missouri, respectively. It's Duke 30-2, Seton Hall 23-8. The last time these two teams met, the semifinals in the Final Four in 1989. Then it was a big Seton Hall victory. Duke controls the tip. And it's Caver on Hurley.
It's also a key that Caver can play contained defense on Bobby Hurley, not allow him to penetrate.
Underneath, Antonio Lang for 2.
Antonio Lang's done a great job as a starter in place of Grant Hill when he was injured.
For Seton Hall, Brian Caver.
Good decision right there. Go at Bobby Hurley, establish the tempo right away. Let him know I'm coming at you the rest of this game.
Thomas Hill, rebound Karnisovas. Caver forces the pace. Into the corner it goes to Terry Dehere. And Brian Davis will get the task of guarding him, the best defender among the Blue Devils.
And you know, Duke is cognizant of how important Caver is. When he gives up the ball, keep an eye on Bobby Hurley, playing deny, not allowing him to receive it again.
Here's Dehere going by Davis, gets a nice screen and misses a shot. Early for Laettner, and Karnisovas gets him when he's out on the perimeter. Foul is called on Winchester. Seton Hall was thumped early on by North Carolina, came back to win 23 and lose 8, 12-6 in the Big East. And they defeated LaSalle and Missouri to get here. Duke, automatic ACC champion over Campbell and Iowa, respectively, to get here. Mike Krzyzewski now in his 12th season.
When you talk about Seton Hall, you got to talk about their development. Vern, as you mentioned, North Carolina embarrassed them in the Big East ACC Challenge early. That's because they had young people at critical positions, particularly Brian Caver. And Caver has since developed he's been able to, with the help of P.J. Carlesimo's animated teaching style, he's been able to really make good judgments, learn how to play the game as a point guard.
Mentioned that last meeting, Len, between the two. That came in Seattle, and it was a convincing victory for the Seton Hall Pirates. They went on, of course, to lose the title game to Michigan in overtime. PJ said the roles are almost reversed now between the two teams. Then it was Seton Hall that had the experience, and Duke was young. Now just the opposite. Here's Hurley underneath. Shot won't go for Brian Davis, but he is fouled. P.J. Carlesimo, look at that. His all-time tournament record is fine, but look when he has more than one day to prepare.
Well, everyone knows that this is a man who takes pride in getting his team ready. And again, a great teacher. And you can't teach certain things overnight. Well, you give him 2 nights.
Larry Keating, the athletic director, says of P.J. he's not an innovator, but oh, can he teach.
Well, let me tell you something. In this game of basketball, there are certain principles that have to be mastered. And if you can impart those as a coach to your players, they'll be that much more fundamentally sound and that much more prepared to go out here and make adjustments. You can't innovate unless they have the fundamentals down.
If you're counting, he's had 5 days to get ready for Duke. Foul on Karnisovas.
You know, Seton Hall playing in the Big East, they're accustomed to physical play. But I got a feeling they're going to have to right away step up to the type of play that Duke will set, the type of tempo they'll set, because Duke is a physical team, but they also do it with quickness. They do it with power. They're just not a bump body against body team. They know what they're doing when they employ their power.
Well, among the many things that Laettner does well, Christian Laettner, is shoot free throws. And he gets the first.
And believe it or not, he has some flaws in his game, but those flaws are correctable. And the more he plays, I believe the better he's going to get, particularly on the next level.
Duke out to a 6-2 lead. 18-10 to go first half. Taken away by the Blue Devils. Here's Hurley. 3-on-3. Hurley finds Lang underneath, and the shot no good. Foul on Laettner.
Seton Hall turning the ball over again, and Duke with their lightning quick transitions. That's where they get the easy opportunities, and it takes a lot of pressure off their jump shooters. If you can limit your turnovers in the open floor, not allow Duke to get those easy opportunities, you force them to play a more conservative basketball game, and that gives you a chance.
Jerry Walker misfires on the shot. Lang comes down with the rebound.
That time Walker was just intimidated by Laettner. He could have gone straight up with power rather than pump fake.
Thomas Hill. Karnisovas comes down with it for the Pirates. Still 6-2, 17:25 to go first half. Walker. Hurley tries to harass him from behind. Traveling. 3 turnovers on Seton Hall now in the first 3 minutes.
We're going to take a look at Jerry Walker, number 21 in blue. He has an opportunity to go straight up. Laettner had not gotten to the spot, but Walker was ever cognizant of Laettner's presence and really talked himself, or thought himself, out of an easy 2.
Jerry Walker will get a rest now, and Luther Wright comes in. Luther, in his first season at Seton Hall, 7'2", 290. He's averaging about 10 minutes a game. Here's Hurley. Nope. Karnisovas. That's going to be Duke's ball.
Talk about Luther Wright. He also said that he's better than Christian Laettner. Proof's in the pudding, baby. You got your chance.
You want to come down on hard on either side of that conversation?
If only one side so far.
Karnisovas picks up the foul. That's his second early in the ball game. Arturas Karnisovas, who harbors a wish of playing for his national team in the Olympics in Barcelona. The national team, of course, Lithuania. He is from Vilnius. We'll be sending some of you back to Albuquerque, of course, for the game between UCLA and New Mexico State. And here's Antonio Lang. He really has been about as improved as anybody on this roster, hasn't he, the latter part of the season?
Well, he certainly has, and I remember seeing him early this year, and one of the problems was he just didn't have the confidence. You know, he played tentatively, and now being a part of this starting unit, I think that collective confidence has rubbed off on him, and he's playing like he belongs there, which he does.
8-2. Here's Caber. Dehere must contend with Brian Davis all night long. Karnisovas over Grant Hill, who's come in the lineup. There's Grant Hill, touch pass. Rejected off Laettner, out of bounds. Seton Hall ball.
Hey, the big fella's having a little impact right away. You know, you want to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. And Luther Wright is starting to walk a little bit.
Here's a steal, Antonio Lang.
You know, this is what PJ feared, that his team would have to dribble, penetrate, create something off the dribble, because Duke makes it so hard on you to pass around the perimeter, and thus they've gotten a bunch of steals by denying in the passing lane.
4 turnovers already for Seton Hall. And despite hitting only 2 of 7 from the field, Duke is up by 8, 10-2. Dehere, short. Luther Wright, nope, short as well. Lang with the rebound. Here's Hurley. Davis. Long rebound, quickly into the hands of Winchester. Dehere over Grant Hill, who draws the foul.
I'm going to tell you something. I like Terry Dehere. I like the decision he just made. You know, Seton Hall is playing tentatively, offensively, but the decision he made on the break, there's one guy to beat. He's got great confidence in his one-on-one skills. He's coming at you. Grant Hill is backing up on his heels. You got to take it to him.
That will send Terry Dehere to the line, shooting 2.
He has 2 shots.
15-19 to go first half. Dehere's 2 free throws cut the margin to 6.
Back in the regional semifinal, this is an exciting and a stressful time for the Hurley family. They're sitting with the Duke fans the first half, and in the second half, Mrs. Hurley said she was going to switch to the Seton Hall side until she saw where Danny, who's only a freshman, got the tickets. As for Sister Melissa, she's literally torn down the middle. Her jacket is half Duke, half Seton Hall. As for the brothers, Bobby told me he called Danny today, said, forget everything. I want you to do your best. Vern?
All right, and that was Bobby Hurley, who just missed the shot. Leslie, we're back to play with 10-4 the score, 14:58 remaining.
Hey, considering the good friends Bobby Hurley and Jerry Walker are playing against each other, the brothers, and we got the makings of a Civil War documentary here. Brother against brother, friend against friend.
That's right. In the corner, Winchester gets 2. And it's a 10-6 game. Danny Hurley, of course, a freshman guard for Seton Hall. Bobby Hurley, his brother, and their dad, the coach at St. Anthony in Jersey City. Perennial power in New Jersey athletics. Luther Wright with the steal.
Seton Hall came down that time and employed a bit of zone. Duke had a little trouble handling it, but I like the way Wright is playing. Moving his feet very well.
Dehere, Winchester. They've saved the lead to 2.
And I tell you, Winchester's drive on Laettner is going to go a long way in showing people like Jerry Walker, who's on the bench right now, specifically to sit and watch. It's going to go a long way in building their confidence and taking it to the basket.
Bobby Hurley takes it back outside. Hill, 2, 3. It is for 3, just outside the line. Thomas Hill.
If you're going to play that zone against Duke, you've got to be able to rush the shooters and cover them. In many ways, the zone is more difficult to play than a man-to-man.
Here's Dehere. Nope. Thomas Hill with the rebound. Quickly out to Bobby Hurley. 13-8 in the Division II. Virginia Union wins over Kentucky Wesleyan. California State at Bakersfield, the big winner. Look at this, Bridgeport. They were in the championship game a year ago. And the finals will be televised Saturday on CBS. Here's Seton Hall. Karnisovas with the rebound. Underneath to the big fella. Hey.
Well, excuse me, Luther Wright.
Maybe there are two sides to this story. Skip pass back to Bobby Hurley. He penetrates. Dishes back to Laettner. Spots up for the three. Thank you.
We talked about him at the beginning of this telecast. He's so tough inside, but he'll murder you outside.
In the last 10 games, Christian Laettner is hitting 62% from three-point range. And that's a 6'11" center. Don't forget, those of you who are expecting that UCLA-New Mexico State game, it tips at 31 after the hour, and we'll get you out to Albuquerque in plenty of time for that. We have a 16-10 score. Here's Brian Caber off the mark. Karnisovas and Winchester battling for the rebound, and it's going to be Seton Hall's ball out of bounds. In the meantime, time has been called. Senior in the stands with his wife and daughter is the head basketball coach at St. Anthony High School in Jersey City, a perennial powerhouse in Jersey basketball. Look at the players in the '89 team that went undefeated. Terry Dehere, Jerry Walker, and the two boys, Bobby and Danny. And how about Bobby Hurley Jr.'s athletic career? His 4 years in high school, they won the state title every year. His 2 years at Duke, they've been in the championship game both times. He thinks that's the way it's always supposed to be.
It's not a bad habit to be in.
Not at all. Here's Luther Wright. Laettner with a rebound. Don't forget, New Mexico State tipping off against UCLA 31 after the hour. Wright with the block. Oh, boy, they call him with a foul.
I'll tell you right now, PJ's got an argument.
Looked like all ball, didn't it?
From where I sat and saw this, it looked like it should have been, if anything, the body. And I'm not so sure that was the case. You see Wright coming right at you. No, sir. Good block. Another angle here. Once again, good block.
Luther Wright will get a rest, having picked up the foul, and Antonio Lang. Luther Wright started his high school career at St. Anthony, then transferred after 1 year to Elizabeth, New Jersey, to a public high school.
Well, I went to a Catholic high school, and sometimes in budget crunch time, you may not get a uniform big enough to fit the guys. So you had to move on. I know I had trouble getting one as I grew to be my size.
Which is not tiny, by the way.
Not now.
18-10, Duke on top. Jerry Walker back in from the baseline. Terry Dehere hits one.
Good decision, penetration off the dribble, kick it back outside. You draw that Duke defense in to help, and then you hit the spot-up jump shooter.
Hurley and Lang and Grant Hill. Laettner. Here's Grant Hill. Traveling. That's the second Duke turnover. And into the lineup, here comes Danny Hurley. Well, their father will not let the two boys play one-on-one against each other. In Greensboro last week, they went out for a go-kart race. The reason he won't let them play one-on-one is because they get into fights. And here they are, the dream of a childhood, brother against brother in the NCAA Regional. Walker, no. Walker, yes.
See, that's what makes Jerry Walker the player that he is right now. Bulldog mentality. He'll get it blocked, but he keeps coming at you.
How many times as kids do you think these two young men did this? 15 and 11. When it's dark and raining.
Right now, the flashbacks are setting in.
Underneath, Laettner, in the meantime, has work to accomplish.
But you talk about a dream of two kids. You got to believe if your dad's a coach, it's got to be his utmost dream.
Well, Mom and Dad and Sister Melissa are watching from across the way. Walker looks for Karnišovas. 20-14. Karnišovas puts it up softly. Got it. That's for two.
Got away with a little push off on the baseline. But Seton Hall hanging tough. They have to be prepared mentally against a Duke defense that swarms.
Around the side, Terry Dehere gets caught. We're at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, second semifinal game in the East Regional. Vern Lundquist along with Len Elmore, 20-16 with 9:46 to go in the first half. Winner of this game will meet Kentucky in the championship of the region on Saturday night. And there's the Hurley family. Well, Melissa couldn't stand it. She took off that jacket that had Seton Hall and Duke on both sleeves. Laettner with Karnišovas out on him. Davis back in now. Underneath, Laettner.
See, Christian Laettner will show you that he can move without the ball. Gets excellent position. You can't stop him 2 feet from the basket. But Seton Hall is not going to try to stop him. BJ told us that he's going to try to have his team contain him.
Karnišovas went up expecting Laettner in his face and was short with the shot, and now Christian Laettner called for the foul. That's his second.
Look at the top left of your screen, number 32, moving without the ball off the screen. And that's just good fundamental play. He set his man up by lulling him to sleep and then a quick break off the pick.
Grant Hill quickly back into the lineup, and Christian Laettner will get a rest.
I tell you, this has been a game where Seton Hall at one point down 10-2. You know, they could have folded up pretty much, but what they did was they tightened the defense. They started to go inside a little bit more, and most importantly, they've taken care of the basketball. There haven't been very many open floor turnovers that allowed Duke to get out on their transition fast break.
Jerry Walker missed the first of two. Missed them both. John Leahy, by the way, is also in the lineup for Seton Hall, the super freshman. And there's Leahy getting in the way of the pass to Grant Hill, but Duke controls it. Hurley adjusted, passes to Hill.
All he needs is a little daylight, Bobby Hurley. He'll find anyone.
24-16. 8:54 to go first half. Hurley on Hurley. This is Leahy. And a foul is called on Grant Hill. That's his second.
I mean, I just would have loved to play with a point guard like this, and I've played with some pretty good ones. But Bobby Hurley has that knack of putting so much pressure on the defense. 3 guys, and he still finds Grant Hill on the baseline.
Well, he came into this game with only 209 assists, so he will not break a record that he himself set last year of 289. That because he was out for 5 games with an injury. He and Grant Hill went out late season, but still another terrific season. Dehere, nice pass. Oh, boy. Pretty. Jerry Walker for the basket. 24-18 with 8:35 to go first half. Cherokee Parks has entered the lineup and throws it away. Here's Dehere. Danny Hurley to his left. And there's the same thing that Dehere did earlier in the ballgame. Took it all the way in.
Great decision. You get a defender backing up, and if he's the one to beat, you keep making up that ground.
Lead is 4, 24-20. Hurley over his brother for 2.
How many times do you think Danny Hurley has seen that dribble to the right, go behind your back, and shoot the jumper?
Thousands. 26-20. Winchester. Dehere. Too strong. Loose ball. Luther Wright is fouled. Dehere and Danny Hurley, Luther Wright, Jerry Walker, and Winchester right now for Seton Hall. In the women's NCAA championship, Virginia leading West Virginia in the second half. Our score here, 26-20, and time has been called.
NCAA Basketball Championship on CBS.
The primetime players of Seton Hall and Duke are battling it out in Philadelphia. 26-20 is the score. We're going to keep an eye on that game and bring our primetime players in the studio in here and talk about New Mexico State and UCLA. The Bruins in white, up by 1, just beginning this game.
Early in the game, Pat, as you see the steal here by the Bruins, and really it's a crowd for the Aggies in the pit, definitely a New Mexico State crowd, Ralph, but UCLA already in some foul trouble. 16 minutes left in the first half, and Mitchell Butler on the bench with 3 fouls.
They're deep, though, but also the half-court defense. They're aggressive. They're going to commit some errors, but also can New Mexico State run their half-court sets. Benjamin popped out for a jumper earlier. Crawford able to penetrate. Excellent half-court sets. It's just a matter of running them properly.
Sam Crawford's penetration, his ability off the dribble for New Mexico State, Pat, is going to be a very big factor in this game. He can break down the Bruins off the dribble.
And as you said, it is an Aggies crowd down there in the pit in Albuquerque. Back at Duke Seton Hall, Duke up by 6 still.
Seton Hall, I think, got back in from inside play. A lot of baskets going to the foul line. Walker aggressive inside and not turning the ball over the first couple of minutes, Pat. They had 4 turnovers, much more comfortable. But how about the backyard play? Hurley on Hurley. Mom, he did it again.
Get inside. As Raph said, they were down 10-2 early, turning the ball over, 14 points in the paint. Seton Hall right now very comfortable in the flow of this ball game.
Chatting the tournament from New York. Let's go back to courtside and Vern and Len. Vern.
Okay, Pat, 28-22 is the score, 6:25 remaining in the first half. Let's get you up to date on who's on the floor right now. Dehere and Walker, Caver, Luther Wright, and Winchester for Seton Hall. And for Duke, it's Brian Davis, Grant Hill, Cherokee Parks, Hurley, and Christian Laettner. Here's Dehere, no. Loose ball, Luther Wright is down there battling for it. And that's going to be a hell ball, the possession arrow pointing Seton Hall's way.
And I tell you, this is the first time, and I've seen Duke a number of times during the season, the first time I've seen them play some type of matchup defense, and it's really forced Seton Hall to examine what they're doing offensively. You see Luther Wright doing a nice job of getting involved. His biggest problem is he's getting to balls, he's getting and catching them, he just can't finish. And with his size, you have to be a finisher.
Jerry Walker. Under 6 minutes to go, 28-22. Karnisovas. Walker works hard for the basket and gets the nice soft roll.
I'll tell you, Jerry Walker's got that kind of game inside for his size. He likes to lay his body on you on offense. He can get people in foul trouble, and Duke has backed away from him, particularly Christian Laettner.
Hurley now has Caver back on him. Danny Hurley back on the bench. Bobby Hurley. And again, it's going to be off Luther Wright, and Duke will control.
Right now, the tempo of this basketball game is the type that Seton Hall wants to play. Not only is it more half court, but it's a heck of a lot more physical than Duke is accustomed to. I mentioned Duke's a power team because they get the ball inside, but they have a plan with their power. You know, Seton Hall is the kind of team that likes to put those big bodies on you and shake you up a little bit, and that throws your timing off.
Thomas Hill comes into the ball game for Grant Hill. There's Laettner. Got it.
I tell you, man, what do you do with a 6'11" guy that can bounce out to the top like that and bury it all net?
62% from that range in the last 10 games. Luther Wright, nice. 31-26. Seton Hall hangs in there. They trail by 5 with under 5 minutes to go. Laettner thinks about it. Traveled. Turnovers are now 4 and 4. UCLA with an early lead over New Mexico State. We mentioned that this is the first game between these two teams. You probably won't find one scheduled because P.J. Carlesimo and Mike Krzyzewski are such good friends, they don't want to play each other in regular season.
In '89 in the Final Four, they had to play.
Right. They, by the way, are going to be assistants to Chuck Daly on the Olympic team in Barcelona. There's traveling at the other end.
As I mentioned, Luther Wright getting his hands on the ball, getting possession, but he has to be able to finish. He's got to work on his hands. He's a big, strong guy. No one should be able to slap the ball out of his hands.
Laettner missed one, but Davis is right there and gets the foul from Luther Wright.
And you know, that should have been an offensive foul, because before Wright, as he approached the play, you could see Davis, who's entitled to go straight up. You can see Davis jump into Wright as Wright was making his progress towards the defensive position. And I believe that you got to be able to call that based on the rule of verticality, or the principle of verticality.
Well, Brian Davis grinning as if he heard you and knows he got away with something. NCAA basketball tournament, Indiana and Kentucky already in the regional final earlier tonight. The Big Ten and the ACC, 3 teams alive. And Christian Laettner needs 14 to become the NCAA tournament all-time scorer.
Well, I mean, that's a tribute, one, to the program, that they've been in there long enough to give him an opportunity to score that many points. And certainly his ability as a player, from a freshman to a senior, he's really had impact on the games played by Duke in the NCAA tournament.
And I can hear them asking, well, who's number 1? Well, the answer is a guy out of the University of Houston named Elvin Hayes. Dehere. By the way, this is also the 145th game that Christian Laettner has played in. The NCAA record for games is held by Danny Manning at 147, so he could break that this year. From the corner, Winchester.
Great ball movement, forcing Duke to really close up the inside, play the perimeter, and leaving Winchester wide open. Seton Hall very patient. That's what they have to do, and make those good decisions on finding the open man.
Thomas Hill posting up. Dehere denying him the bell. Grant Hill.
I thought I would hear a scream for help come up from Jerry Walker, because you just don't want to be caught one-on-one with Grant Hill down on the baseline.
Caver too strong. Thomas Hill with the rebound. Here's Hurley. Duke in transition. The pass. Good defensive play by Winchester. And Dehere at the other end. Gordon Winchester broke that one up.
Winchester, great defensive player, and great awareness on the floor by Walker.
And Gordon Winchester, the only senior starter for Seton Hall. One reason why many think this team is a year away. There's another steal, Jerry Walker. And got a little eager that time. Brian Davis was not about to be fooled. Grant Hill. Davis blocked. Jerry Walker, and then Caver is fouled by Brian Davis.
You know, you just can't say enough about the defensive job that Seton Hall has done thus far. Offensively, they've controlled the tempo, they've moved the ball, gotten good shots, but defensively, they're starting to play with more confidence now. They're starting to match up individually and play good fundamental man-on-man defense, and certainly the help is there. Duke is having a lot of trouble right now getting something started.
Ryan Caver will go to the free throw line after the foul. USC leading Stephen F. Austin early second half in the women's NCAA tournament, and UCLA got by Southwest Missouri State. That final, of course, comes up on CBS from Los Angeles. Up. Caver misses the free throw. And Laettner has it go off Seton Hall, so it'll be Duke's ball, but time has been called.
A tough defensive the spectrum. It isn't quite the same as having Willie Mays' rookie card, but P.J. Carlissimo and Mike Krzyzewski, as Vern Lundquist mentioned, Olympic assistant coaches, are the only coaches to be immortalized in national trading cards. P.J. told me he's excited. His went up to 55 cents on the open market. Vern, what do you think Lenny's old NBA card's worth?
77. 77 cents, and that's as high as I'm going.
Still can't buy a cup of coffee.
34-30, under 2 minutes to go. Hurley and Davis and Laettner, along with Antonio Lang and Grant Hill. And Hurley against Hurley, as Danny Hurley has come back in now and went for the steal on his brother. Here's Laettner. Antonio Lang got away with a travel.
Certainly did. No call there. And now Seton Hall with the ball with 1:25 left. Their mission is to make sure they get good shots without turning it over in the open court and control the tempo, run some time off of this clock. They'd be more than happy to go out here down 6.
Nice move by Dehere, and he'll shoot free throws. Just to update you on that UCLA women's score, they were defeated by Southwest Missouri State. That's a correction on the final, 83-57. Southwest Missouri State knocks off the higher seed UCLA. Vanderbilt over Miami in the Eastern. And the defending champion Tennessee Volunteers defeated by Western Kentucky. John Leahy checks back in now for Karnisovas, and Terry Dehere goes to the free throw line.
Take a look at that Maryland score.
Seton Hall just 2 of 5 from the free throw line here in the first half. Dehere has them both. He's down to 5. And Division II in Springfield, California, Pennsylvania. Virginia Union over Kentucky Wesleyan. Bakersfield from California defeated Jacksonville State out of Alabama. It's a 4-point ball game here. Duke, #1 in the country, #1 all season, trying to defend their national title, and Hurley just off the mark. Walker rebound for Seton Hall.
And that time Hurley fell into the trap. Seton Hall wanted to double and press to make them push it up tempo.
Danny Hurley goes by his brother. Left-handed shot. Laettner comes down with a rebound.
Seton Hall wanted to quicken the pace a little bit, and Bobby Hurley couldn't resist the penetration.
30 seconds remaining, 25 on the shot clock.
And the reason Seton Hall wanted to do that was to make sure that they had another opportunity at the basket. They didn't connect, but with the time remaining, they can go down no more than 7 going into the locker room, and I think PJ's got to be happy with that.
Hurley, oh! Pretty. Travel.
You know, before Dehere hit the ground, there was contact. You got to make a call on that. At least from my angle on. Well, here's the pass right here on offense, and backdoor again by Brian Davis. But immediately Seton Hall gets the ball out of bounds and kicks it up. And Terry Dehere on the right baseline had to catch a lead pass, and as he came down before he hit the ground, he made contact with Brian Davis. No call. You got to make a call there.
Davis, nope. That's the end of the first half with our score. Duke 38, Seton Hall 32. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by Reebok, who asks, who is the world's greatest athlete, Dan or Dave? Chick Tracer. It traces Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship Regional Semifinal game is sponsored by Chevrolet, the cars and trucks more people depend on. AT&T, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by UPS, offering 1030 guaranteed overnight air delivery.
Just about set for the second half with Duke leading Seton Hall by 6 points, 38-32. Right now, let's go to Leslie Visser.
Vern, the Seton Hall coaches feel they're right there with the Blue Devils. They think that Luther Wright has done a good job of clogging up the middle. With Duke, of course, it's always, what have you done for me, Laettner? And in the second half, Seton Hall is going to keep Arturas Karnisovas on him and hope that they can make it a little tougher for Bobby Hurley to get him the ball. Vern?
See, she gets a bonus for puns like that, but we'll talk about that later on. Seton Hall has done a good job defensively in the game.
Well, they certainly have, and one of the things that we talked about them doing was to contain Christian Laettner, but also shut off the rest of the guys. Offensively, they've been doing a nice job as well, getting good shots, controlling the tempo, and making good decisions when they get into the heart of that Duke defense.
Davis, Hurley, and underneath it's Davis, misses the shot, but the tip goes in.
Seton Hall's got to be ready for a Duke pressure onslaught. You know, I'm sure they're not comfortable with the score being what it is, and Seton Hall's ability to control the tempo. Look for stepped-up defensive pressure from Duke, trying to create those turnovers.
Terry Dehere in the corner, back to Caber. Caber and Hurley kind of a standoff in the first half. Both had 2 points. About what you expected, or do you think more offense from one or the other?
No, it's about what I expected. Their jobs are to distribute the ball, and both of them have done it nicely. It doesn't show up in the assist column, but you certainly know by the balance and scoring that Caber's done a nice job and Hurley's done his usual fine job. Terry Dehere with that last basket. The lead is 6 again. Laettner calling for the ball. Karnisovas fronts him down the post. Here's the high pass to Laettner. And it won't go. Loose ball picked up by Caber. 3-on-2. Laettner fires to Dehere. Back it goes, and it's misfired. You can't overpass against Duke. They cover the open guys nicely.
Blocking foul called on Karnisovas.
Seton Hall does a nice job of getting back, but Duke is so lightning quick in transition from defense to offense. They're continually attacking and putting pressure on you. And Seton Hall, PJ jumped up off the bench. He looked for a travel.
That's the third foul on Karnisovas. PJ Carlesimo not making a move yet. And Antonio Lang goes to the line. This is an excellent free throw shooting team, but Lang is the least effective, and he's hitting 64% for the year.
I'm going to tell you right now, it's a 7-point deficit, possibly 8. And Seton Hall's got to be very careful. Again, they don't want to get down 12-14.
Antonio Lang, 15 points. That's a career high for him. Lang goes for the steal. Winchester, nope. And they're going to get Brian Davis for the shove from behind.
Good fundamental block out by Karnisovas. And it was a good shot by Winchester. Again, you get the open shots, the 8-10 footers, you got to take them.
Second foul on Brian Davis. Walker, Winchester, nice play. Nice pass from Jerry Walker.
And that play started opposite the ball with the picks. Jerry Walker setting a pick and then cutting to the hoop. You see the cut right here after he gives up the ball. And Winchester doing a nice job there cutting the valley after setting the pick.
Short on the free throw, so it stays 42-36. Davis traveled. This is a Duke team that hits 54% over the course of 32 games, 45 in this game.
Well, let me tell you, Christian Laettner is 4 for 6. Actually, in the first half, he was 4 for 6. You throw his shooting out, the rest of the team was 9 for 23 at halftime. That's 39%.
Walker. Karnisovas got 2 more. The lead is 4. Seton Hall has never been on top. They fell behind early, 10-2. Grant Hill getting ready to re-enter the game. Foul away from the ball. 4th foul on Karnisovas.
Talked about second chance opportunities, and Seton Hall has to make the most of everything they get off the board. Karnisovas not blocked out. First thing you do is go to the basket.
Well, the sophomore from Lithuania picks up his 4th with 17:38 to go. John Leahy quickly hurries in to take his place. Here's Hurley. Foul is on Leahy, his first. Danny Hurley's going to check in now.
And with Karnisovas on the bench for Seton Hall, they've lost an excellent defender. He's done a nice job of changing his defensive stance against Christian Laettner, fronting sometimes, playing behind and on the side. That was his job today, to try to contain Laettner.
Hurley kicks it out. Jerry Walker with a steal. Here's Winchester. Laettner back defensively. And Laettner goes into the photographer's area to the left. He's up. He's just fine. Don't know about the photographer. .42-40. Brother on brother at the point. Thomas Hill, good move.
Thomas Hill, an unsung hero for Duke. Throughout the season, a lot of guys have been up and down for them, but Hill has probably been as consistent as anyone.
Here's Dehere. Switch made by Hill, and then he gets the roll. It's in and good. I know those of you in the ACC know this, but around the country you may not. Grant Hill and Thomas Hill are not brothers. Alley-oop, Laettner.
That was a design play to bring everyone up to the top so that there's no weak side help. And Jerry Walker is just defenseless if he has to front Christian Laettner with no pressure on the ball.
Duke back by 4. Walker works on Laettner. Nice move inside. The rebound too strong. Held ball, possession arrow. Now let's see. There was an indication from one official that it should be Seton Hall's ball, but the possession arrow was pointing the other direction. Kentucky won the first game, and they will meet the winner of this one. Nope. Seton Hall inbounds. Dehere blocked by Thomas Hill, gets the rebound. Here comes Duke in transition. 3-on-2. Grant Hill. And there's the Hill family, his dad Calvin with the baseball cap on.
And P.J. Carlissimo jumped off the bench and motioned for his team to slow down, relax. They're starting to take quick shots right now, making it a transition type of game, which they don't want to get into. And Duke goes to his own, a 1-3-1.
Danny Hurley and Dehere. Luther Wright is back in the lineup. Here's Winchester. Oh, he's played a solid game.
He certainly has. He does so many things for Seton Hall, particularly when they need it. He's primarily known as a great defensive player, but he's got a nice touch on the baseline, and if he's open, he will burn you.
Grant Hill. Short. Duke ball.
There is a timeout on the floor.
11 or 14:59 remaining in the ball game. The lead is 4.
Back in the spectrum where Duke leads Seton Hall by 4 points. The winner, of course, will play Kentucky. I'm with a man who probably won't be invited to many UMass alumni affairs, but Rick, congratulations. What would you have to do to beat either Duke or Seton Hall?
Well, we match up a little better with Seton Hall, but Duke has great quickness. We'd have to have our press work for us.
How do you handle Christian Laettner, and who might draw the assignment?
We'll have to switch a lot, and probably we'll go with anybody other than Mashburn.
Congratulations, you have 20 minutes to celebrate. Thank you. Back to you.
Okay, Les. Meanwhile, on the court, Brian Caver and Jerry Walker come back in, replacing Danny Hurley and John Leahy for Seton Hall. And there's more NCAA basketball coming up for you tomorrow. An 8:03 tip-off from the Southeast region in Lexington, North Carolina against Ohio State. And from Kansas City, Georgia Tech takes on Memphis State at 18 after the hour. Then later, Michigan against Oklahoma State and UTEP against Cincinnati. That is tomorrow.
I'll tell you, Cincinnati is a team that I didn't have a chance to see much of until last week. And I'm very impressed with the way they play defense, 94 feet. And this is the way you win basketball games. You look at a team like Duke, and the reason they've been in so many Final Fours is because their attack starts with their defense.
Thomas Hill gets them both. The lead is back to 6.
I'll tell you, P.J. Carlissimo and bringing Jerry Walker and Brian Caver back in the basketball game has done a nice job of resting his key guys.
Traveling call on Luther Wright.
He's been getting Caver the rest, a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there. The same thing with Walker, and that's all part of the plan. You try to get yourself in a position against a team like Duke so that you can win. And having these guys back on the floor hopefully prevents Duke from going out in one of those quick bursts and pulling away from him.
Hurley loses it. Seton Hall ball. And it'll be Jerry Walker to bring it inbounds. 14:28 remaining, 50-44 for Seton Hall. It's Walker and Caver along with Winchester, Terry Dehere, and Luther Wright right now. Walker, strong move. Laettner and Wright. And Laettner comes out of there with it. Thomas Hill. Beautiful. Just like that, it's back to 8. Seton Hall has never led, fell behind 10-2 in the early moments. Pulled back to within 2, but they now trail 52-44. Caver, beautiful.
That's the penetration into the paint that I talked about at the beginning of the game. Caver's got to make the good decision.
Welcome those of you watching the UCLA New Mexico State game. We are 13 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this one, 25 seconds. Duke up by 6, making 8 points. That's a 2-point basket for Brian Davis. As this lead has never been in double digits, Duke has maintained the lead throughout, but Seton Hall playing smartly and well.
And it's been a case of making good decisions. Brian Caver, the point guard, has been able at times to get into the heart of the Duke defense, distribute the ball nicely, but most importantly, Seton Hall has controlled the tempo of the game, kept Duke from getting out in their lightning transition by not turning the ball over in the open floor.
Antonio Lang tries to hurry into the lineup, but he can't get there. Whoa, dear. 5-second call. So the turnover goes against Seton Hall. Now Antonio Lang checks in for Christian Laettner. Grant Hill will bring it up. 6'8" sophomore from Reston, Virginia. And the Duke fans behind the Duke bench start to cheer. That rebound. Thomas Hill in. It's a 10-point lead. Double digits for the first time. On November 5th, 1972, Calvin was playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and Grant was born on a Friday night. I announced it on a local television station in Dallas. 2 days later, Calvin Hill threw a 50-yard touchdown pass as a halfback to Ron Sellers. And the Cowboys beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 17-13.
Remind me to let you announce the birth of my next son, who's going to turn out to be a Grant Hill.
There you go. 12:25 remaining. The lead is 10.
Nice.
And can't finish. At the other end, Grant Hill for two as Seton Hall cannot get back in transition. Mom and Dad look a little pleased.
They look pleased right there, that's for sure. I tell you, the play that Caver made is perfect. That's what you do. You put pressure, but you got to finish it. You know, we talked about Brian Caver making a penetration. He's capable of doing that, getting his team some easy shots. But if you don't finish, that's the result. The quick Duke transition, which results in a layup, in this case, a foul.
Basket is good for Grant Hill. Calvin, of course, his dad, an all-pro halfback with the Cowboys and later played with the Redskins. Now an executive with the Baltimore Orioles baseball team. Winchester got another.
Well, there's a hot hand emerging for Seton Hall. I don't know if you force feed Gordon Winchester, but you certainly have to give him a look every trip down.
They look inside at Laettner. Jerry Walker works on him. Walker with a good defensive job.
Changing the defense, fronting, siding, making it difficult on the passer to find the target.
Quickly underneath to Walker. Laettner's there. They kick it back to Karnisovas. And he is fouled by Antonio Lang. That's 3 fouls on Lang. 11-11 remaining in the ball game. A sellout crowd on hand at the Spectrum, the second of 2 semifinal games in the East region. Kentucky won the first by 10. Duke is up by 11 here. Laettner needs 12 points to surpass Elvin Hayes as the NCAA tournament all-time scorer. 3-point field goal certainly not a factor for Seton Hall, 0 of 3, and Duke 3 of 9 so far. Antonio Lang with 15 points in the ball game. Arturas Karnisovas at the line. Duke, if they beat Seton Hall, meets Kentucky. If Seton Hall wins, they play Kentucky here Saturday for a right to go to the Final Four. 1 of 2 for Karnisovas. He was shooting 3, so he'll get a third.
And with Karnisovas back in the basketball game, but he has 4 fouls, look for Seton Hall on their next couple of trips down floor to look for him around 3-point area. He led the Big East in 3-point field goal percentage of 52. And that's another value that he adds, not only defensively, but he's a good long-range shooter. They've got to get as much mileage out of him as they can while he's in the game.
Get a sense this is a very dangerous time now for Seton Hall. They've got to put it up a notch. Laettner, they just did. Blocked by Walker.
Take it.
Caver pulls up and takes the jumper and then fires it short.
You got to take it to the basket 2-on-1. You don't pull up on the jump shot.
Karnisovas just fouled out.
You know, the mental mistakes on a 2-on-1 break, you try and get a layup, you don't pull up for a jumper. Duke makes you pay for every mental mistake you make. It looked like a pretty good play. It's a tough one to have to foul out on.
So Arturas Karnisovas goes to the bench having picked up his 5th foul. And they lose a valued defender with him out of the ball game.
They certainly do. And if you have to mount a comeback, if you're within reach and you have to utilize a 3-point shot, he's one of the guys to go to. Caught me by surprise.
Lang is so embarrassed. He turned around.
There's no place to hide it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that'll make it feel a little better. Brian Davis checks back in for Antonio Lang, who has 16 points in the ball game. And it's an 11-point edge again, 60-49, 10:40 remaining. Earlier tonight, Kentucky won their ball game, as did Indiana. Danny Hurley back in now, along with Dehere, John Leahy, Winchester, and Walker. Leahy for 3. Winchester with the rebound, puts it up left-handed.
Nice job of rebounding against the Duke zone, and I'm sure Duke went to the zone to cut down on the Seton Hall penetration. If they're going to get back into this basketball game with the setup of the zone, they're going to have to do it from outside, at least for the next couple of minutes.
Grant Hill. He's got 11.
Duke now goes back to the man, changing the defenses, giving their defenders a little bit of a breather when they play the zone.
Danny Hurley has yet to score over his brother. And here's a steal by Davis. 2 more. Lead is 13. (64-51). Under 10 minutes remaining. Walker, held ball. Possession arrow, Duke. Time has been called.
Championship on CBS.
As you look at some of the stars of the tournament, we're going to keep an eye on this game for you. Duke leads 64-51, 9:20 left of the ball game. Take you out west to Albuquerque in the pit. The Bruins lead the Aggies of New Mexico State 47-33. UCLA in white.
UCLA, Pat, was red hot in the first half. Shot 65% from the floor. Biggest lead was 21. The Aggies have started to creep back into the game a little bit early in the second half, as you see that one tipped in. And Ralph, really, it was the 3M company. If we count Matkins in with McLean and, of course, with Murray, they did the job in the first half.
They may be too tough, but this club plays together. And they're fun to watch. They distribute the basketball. They pressure in this matchup and create some changes, some quick shots, maybe some passes that are inadvertent, but jam down on the low post guy. I'm glad they've done so well simply because the team concept does prevail.
UCLA needs to show patience, as they do here, Pat, against this matchup zone of New Mexico State. Right now, the Aggies on a little bit of a run at the pit.
And UCLA showing some poise with the big Aggie crowd there down there in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Duke and Seton Hall. By watching Duke tonight, they just put it all together, don't they, sometimes?
It is a key time of the game. They're just a marvelous team. Hurley uses the whole floor. They pass well. They look for one another. He's the catalyst with the bounce. They run some screens in motion. And this guy, well, he gets all he deserves. Great All-American. Looked like us on that particular play, but those things will happen even to the great ones.
Seton Hall needs a couple more of those. But down the stretch of the game with Hurley controlling the ball, Pat, for Duke, and the way they shoot free throws, Ralph, they shoot it as well as anybody in the country on the foul line. That's a big key down the stretch. Hard to chase Duke.
The view from the Apple. Back to Philly and Vernon Lynn.
Okay, Patrick, 7:44 remaining in the ball game. Another steal by Seton Hall. Winchester, who's having a terrific ball game. And Leahy for 3. Yes! Mike Krzyzewski has seen all he needs. Duke timeout. The lead is 6.
Seton Hall's going to get back into this game with defense, and the catalyst is Gordon Winchester, who is in the circle. Watch his quickness. Gets a hand on the ball. That's just plain old perseverance right there. 2 straight steals, and Seton Hall is back in the basketball game.
They are on a 7-0 run. Here's Laettner. Air ball over Jerry Walker, and the Pirates get it back. It's Danny Hurley, Terry Dehere, Leahy, Winchester, and Jerry Walker right now on the floor for Seton Hall. Hurley and Thomas Hill, Laettner, Brian Davis, and Grant Hill for Duke. Hurley, nope, too strong. But he takes it away from Grant Hill. Loose ball, Laettner. Hurley, Dehere defending. And they called Terry Dehere for the foul.
We got to give Christian Laettner an awful lot of credit for getting on the floor after that ball. You know, that's a leader right there, the leading scorer on the team. The guy with all the potential, and he's down there digging with the blue-collar guys.
And that puts Duke back on the free throw line. Brian Davis. As as Duke continues to shoot free throws well. They are 14 of 17 for the game.
Ryan Davis at the line.
We continue tomorrow from Lexington. Ohio State, North Carolina first, followed by Michigan, Oklahoma State. And in the Midwest, UTEP, Cincinnati. The late game, Memphis State and Georgia Tech are the early game. That's tomorrow. Davis gets them both. Lead is 8, 6:50 to go. Duke trying to become the first school since UCLA in '73 to repeat as national champions. This would put them into the Final 8.
See, I think Caver needs to have the ball right now. When you have Leahy, who's hot from 3, Caver's got to make the penetration off the dribble and then start looking for Leahy on the spot up.
Caver, foul by Hurley.
See, when you penetrate off the dribble, you're going to make something good happen. Hurley almost got away. It was a late whistle, but he almost got away with a foul. But certainly Duke is cognizant. Nobody helped them that time. They played their men, and Caver's got to make the decision. If Duke stays on their men and they don't help out, then he takes it straight to the basket one-on-one on Hurley. If Duke helps, you look for the open man.
Saw the Hurley family, mom and dad in the stands. Here is Brian Caver at the free throw line. He is 0 for 1. Got it.
We talked about in the open, Caver beating Hurley on penetration. Hurley gets no help right there. Every Duke players decided to stay on their men, and they let Hurley try to play Caver alone. That's not a good matchup for Bobby Hurley.
Well, Caver got it that time, and he gets the 2 free throws, and the lead is 6 at 66-60. 6:21 to go in the game. Grant Hill with Leahy on him. Walker siding Laettner. Nice position, but Thomas Hill gets the rebound. Putback is too strong. Leahy for Seton Hall.
Seton Hall dodged the bullet that time. I'm sure PJ wants somebody to block Thomas Hill off the board.
Caver. Thomas Hill is doing a terrific job denying Leahy. There's the screen. Caver scoots through. Air ball.
Now see, that's not a good decision. He can't take Christian Laettner without having to alter his shot. That's when you look for Laettner's man.
Laettner calls for it down low. They bring it back outside. 5:28 to go. Davis goes right by Winchester. He blew past him.
I tell you, Brian Davis's offense has been sorely underrated. A lot of people have been giving him the jump shot in the last few games. He's been on fire from outside, but he's got quickness, he's got strength.
12 points for Brian Davis in this ball game. Lead is back to 8.
Caver's got to find a way to get the ball back, and Hurley does a great job of denying it.
And here comes Duke in transition. They'll pull it back out. Set offense. .435 remaining. The lead is 8. Winner gets Kentucky on Saturday. Kentucky won by 10 earlier. Indiana won in Albuquerque earlier tonight. UCLA is leading right now. And Duke has been ice cold.
One of the reasons is Seton Hall has tightened up defensively. You know, they've been very active in the paint. And the other reason, I think, is that a few trips down before, Duke did the same thing. They slowed it down. They tried to run time off the clock, and that hurts their offensive rhythm.
This call goes on Leahy.
You know, I tell
You're shaking your head.
Well, I'm shaking my head because there was a travel before that. Bobby Hurley fumbled the ball. And really, the contact didn't create an advantage for either guy because Hurley had already lost the ball. I think that's one of the times where you just don't blow the whistle.
Antonio Lang comes back in. And Bobby Hurley goes to the free throw line.
You know, this in effect is a reward for Bobby Hurley fumbling the ball. Well, it should have been.
There's justice for you, huh?
That's right.
68-60, 4:02 to go. Danny Hurley, Terry Dehere. Thomas Hill now draws him defensively. Winchester, 2 more. Winchester with a career-high 20 points.
See, Duke's got to run their offense now. They can't afford to sit out there and try and run time off the clock because, again, their rhythm is being hurt. And I think that's what Mike wants to talk about right now.
Duke calls its second time out of the ball game. They've got 1, so does Seton Hall. Duke is up by 6. They take it out on the sideline. Both teams with 1 timeout remaining. Team fouls, 8 for Seton Hall, 5 for Duke. And underneath, Laettner. Walker doing a good job on him defensively here in the last 5 or 6 minutes. But there you go.
I mean, that's just a guy that refuses to lose. And he'll find a way to beat you. Walker blocked a couple of shots. He still tries to take it over Walker. No back down.
Laettner and Lang lead the way for Duke now offensively with 16 each. Danny Hurley, Terry Dehere, Winchester, Leahy, and Walker. Dehere. Nice pass underneath. Grant Hill wasn't ready for that defensively, but he recovered. They kick it back out. 15 on the shot clock.
See, you can't allow a guy or force a guy to do something he's not accustomed to doing. And 2 chances right there. Danny Hurley's not a shooter from out there in these situations, and Leahy is not going to look to the basket and power up. You got to recognize game situation.
Now let's see if Duke takes advantage. Winchester finally out on Grant Hill. 2:25 to go in the game. Duke up by 8.
Oh, man.
Cheap foul.
This is the NCAA. I don't want to belabor, criticizing the officials, but I think you got to let guys play. There was no advantage gained from that.
A little picky.
I'm sure they're saying, hey, we wouldn't have called that on the playground.
Oh, not at all. Danny Hurley with a look of disbelief, and his brother Bobby goes to the line. Oh for 2 for Danny Hurley. Bobby Hurley now. Lead is 8. Dehere, Leahy, Grant Hill doing the defensive work. And there's Thomas Hill doing more defensive work.
Again, with Knisevich on the bench, Leahy's forced to play more time than he's accustomed to, and he's forced to do things that he's not accustomed to.
Danny Hurley called for this foul. Coming up tomorrow, the NCAA tournament continues on CBS at 3 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour Eastern time tomorrow night. North Carolina, Ohio State. And then 8:18, Georgia Tech versus Memphis State. Later games will have Michigan against Eddie Sutton's Oklahoma State team, and UTEP with Don Haskins going against Bob Huggins in Cincinnati.
I tell you, you look at that young Michigan team and the way they're playing. I mean, you got to believe they've got no pressure on them whatsoever. They say, hey, we'll play as loose as we need to, as best as we can, and if we don't win it this year, we got next year, and the year after, and the year after.
Calvin Hill said last year, after the Duke Blue Devils won the NCAA championship, he went outside and looked up and just said a silent prayer of thanks. Said he didn't understand how it all worked out, that he had his time in athletics and his son had chosen basketball rather than football, and here was his son winning a part of an NCAA championship. Off the glass, no. Rebound, Brian Davis. 90 seconds to go, the lead back to 10, and the foul on Seton Hall. So it may have come to an end for the Pirates.
Turning point was Knisevich on the bench, fouling out. Again, a great three-point shooter, as well as a guy who's capable of moving the ball, making the entry passes into the post.
There is Arturas Karnisovas. We'll head back home to Vilnius, Lithuania in May after the semester ends. And in all likelihood, we'll wind up playing for Lithuania in Barcelona next summer. Davis gets it. So the Blue Devils appear to be destined to go on the way and meet Kentucky. Seton Hall has gone dry from the field in the last 6 minutes. Mike Krzyzewski, talking with us yesterday, said it hasn't been a distraction being #1. It's caused some anxious moments because the games don't seem to come quickly enough.
Well, his guys are very focused, and that's one of the things he told us. And that, you know, there are times when the games don't come fast enough for his players, and that they really, his biggest fear is that they would come out and, you know, maybe play too strong, play outside of themselves.
Well, they held back the Seton Hall challenge here in the second half. Brian Caber, Jerry Walker for 2. But only 1:10 remaining. P.J. Carlesimo's team will wind up the season 23-9. Meanwhile, UCLA continues to lead New Mexico. And we'll take our entire audience out to Albuquerque to see the end of that game as UCLA tries to get into the round of 8. Hurley got it. Terry Dehere gets 2 more.
He fouls on number 32, Christian Laettner. That's his 3rd personal foul.
There's a look at Christian Laettner. He's 9 back of Elvin Hayes now. All-time NCAA scoring list. Pretty good names on that list of 5, huh? So Christian Laettner in all likelihood will surpass Elvin Hayes when they play Kentucky here on Saturday night. Foul by Jerry Walker. Well, the only man Seton Hall loses from its starting 5 is Gordon Winchester, who had a terrific game tonight in his final appearance for the Pirates. But they've got Caver and Walker and Dehere and Karnisovas and Hurley and Leahy and Luther Wright all coming back.
Well, I tell you, and you look at that kind of lineup and you hope that they progress that year, because like Mike Francesa said during, I think before this game, that he thought Seton Hall was a year away, and I agree with him. But I do say that Gordon Winchester is the glue for this team, and they're going to be hard-pressed to find the guy who plays the defense like that and still gives them some offensive capability.
Thomas Hill got the first. Indiana a winner in Albuquerque earlier. They will take on either UCLA or New Mexico State. And again, we'll take you out to Albuquerque for the final minutes of that ball game as soon as this one is concluded. And we are 46.5 seconds away. Look at Brian Davis. Leahy chases it down, and it'll be Seton Hall ball. Well, in a matchup, Len, between Kentucky and Duke, we've got the number 1 and 2 seeds here. How do you see it?
I think Kentucky's going to be hard-pressed to match up 5 against 5. They're going to have to try some things that allow them to exploit their ball handling and quickness and their three-point ability.
Seton Hall has called timeout. 30 seconds from the Spectrum in Philadelphia on our MVPs for Chevrolet. Gordon Winchester, a career-high 20 points, 10 of 12 from the field, 8 rebounds. And Antonio Lang for Duke with 16 points. That's a career high for him. He had 11 in the first half. And in their honor, $1,000 scholarships to the General Scholarship Fund of both schools. And more free throw shooting now for Duke as we wind it down in the final 21 seconds.
That's his 3rd personal foul.
Eric Meek is getting ready to come in now for Christian Laettner, who leads with 16 points. Marty Clark is also in. Blakeney and Christian Ast as Mike Krzyzewski clears the bench. So it's Blakeney and Ast, Meek, Brian Davis at the line.
You know, we talked about looking ahead to a Duke-Kentucky matchup. I'll tell you, at the end of that game, regardless of the score, there's going to be one tired guy, and that's going to be Jamal Mashburn, because I see Duke having the 5 guys capable of guarding him, and I'm sure that they won't hesitate in rotating guy after guy on him to wear him down.
Gordon Winchester's career at Seton Hall, and it has been a distinguished one, has come to an end. Brian Davis shoots one more. Got it. And the final substitution now. Ron Bird, he's a senior, was a member of the winning intramural team the last 2 years and walked on, and is now getting to play in the NCAA in his senior year. He has played in previous games. Here's Leahy from the corner. And that'll be blue ball.
You know, that should be a reward for the winning intramural team with every college. You know, get the best player to play on the varsity.
I can see coaches all over the country going, ugh. He didn't really mean that.
Hey, it's for the student body.
That's right. Here's Clark. Thank you. Christian Ast gets the final basket of the game. And 2 good friends meet at center court. Mike Krzyzewski, P.J. Carlesimo, they will be assistants for the United States Olympic team that plays in Barcelona this summer. And Mike Krzyzewski has just won his 30th game in the NCAA tournament. In his 12th year, he is now 30-7. And this Duke team that has been to the Final Four each of the last 4 years, one step closer in its quest to defend successfully its national championship. It'll be Duke and Kentucky here Saturday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. The top 2 seeds advance, and they both do with double-digit victories. Duke now goes to 31-2.